Matthias is returning again, but he's got a little surprise.
Yep, Matthias is here with an October surprise. And of course, we have another fantastic guest in Liz Nobby from Alight Flower Farm, who is going to be joining us shortly on the show. And as you can hear, I'm here with Nick.
Good morning, everyone.
Which is fantastic. Have you and I...
We did it recently.
I feel like
because
we
you and I,
did.
yeah.
After like 2 years or something.
Of not being on the show together.
At the same time. We did it recently, and now we're doing it again.
We're doing it. Well, I needed to be here for two reasons. One is that Matthias has his little surprise, so I insert myself on the show. Second is because Liz was actually my instructor at UVA. One of my favorite classes. My last year at UVA.
What class was it?
It was Art History 1. It was one of the best classes I ever took. I was basically telling her, like, even through the emails, that like when I took Elizabeth, my wife, to Italy and Florence and Assisi and all that,
you were using your knowledge.
All of a sudden, like, I tapped into my memory and was going through all the same points and everything that I learned in that class. I was going through and was like, I was basically tour guiding my wife based off of that one class. So she was awesome. A phenomenal instructor. I was so happy to have her here today.
So that's awesome. So we're looking forward to that tremendously.
Yes.
So and I mean, I've seen, as people can see on the promo photos, I mean, there's some beautiful looking flowers that we can talk about. So the art is continuing to be a theme, I think, in this show. So so that's going to be fantastic. There's definitely a rainy morning again.
It was it was sunny yesterday for like an hour.
It was a brief moment.
Michael was like running outside just trying to get any
some sun.
Yeah, he looked like a vampire waking up after like years of sleep.
Michael was like, I need the sun. I need energy. I could feel that. I could feel that. But today we'll have to make do with a cafe con leche in your cozy spot where you can watch some today.
We don't have any cafe con leche. We keep saying
we have something else other than cafe con leche given the season. But people out there can certainly indulge,
cozy up with a cafecito and
exactly, and whatever they need to come and enjoy some today mañana.
Yeah. Do you recommend pumpkin spice cafe con leche?
It's up to them. I will say no more on that.
It's up to them.
I avoid controversy on this show. You know that.
It's not controversial. It shouldn't be.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Nick. We're very excited to have you joining us on a rainy morning here in Charlottesville, Virginia, but that's just an opportunity to get to a nice place, grab whatever you need to keep yourself warm, and watch some Today y Mañana.
I was going to say, at least there's something on the internet to watch today.
Exactly. There is something on the internet to watch today, which is Today y Mañana, because we have two fantastic guests that are going to be joining us today. We're going to be joined shortly in the show by Liz Nobby. She is from Alight Flower Farm, and she's going to be coming on to talk about some beautiful flowers and just what she does. So a fantastic entrepreneur that we have here in Charlottesville. And then later in the show, of course, is going to be our monthly meetup with Matthias for the month of October. Keep that word in mind. And so we're really looking forward to that. We'll cover numerous topics, as we always do with Matthias, and just see what he's up to and see what's going on out there in the fall here in Charlottesville. So we're looking forward to that. Of course, as always, love being here on the I Love CVille Network set. Appreciate our presenter, Emergent Financial Services, as well as our fantastic partners, Matthias Young Realty, Credit Serious Insurance, Charlottesville Opera, Forward Adelante, and of course, we love you, our fantastic viewers, who are already chiming in. We're getting some love from Ricardo Cruz Duran. Muchísimas gracias. Miro del programa.
Yeah.
A great friend of the program, Ricardo. So he's with Total Mortgage. So you can always check him out there. Always appreciate him tuning in this morning. And if you have any questions, comments, likes, shares, be sure to send them our way. We love sharing the great comments about our guests. We love asking them questions. We love telling them how much the community loves them. So that we love all those things. So be sure to send us anything our way that you would like us to talk about. I know Dr. Elizabeth Erpy is tuning in this morning, so we appreciate that. She's doing a shout out to her podcast hosts, which she liked. I mean, she said host, but I'll make it plural. I'll make it plural. I'll include Nick in there. So that's he is mildly appreciated as well. So, how you doing, Nick? Good?
I'm good. I'm ready to start.
Ready to jump in for today? Awesome. So let's go ahead and do it. We are excited to welcome to the show this morning as our first guest, Liz Nobby. She is with Alight Flower Farm. Liz, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you on. So I know Nick obviously knows you.
Good to see you again.
Yes, it's good to see you. I can't believe you remember the class so fondly. I'm so touched that so long ago. And
It's stuck more in my memory than a lot of other classes I had. I was gonna say that was one of my favorite classes. Yeah, it was.
So
you were an
well,
amazing
combined
instructor.
two things you love,
history and art. Yeah,
and in a memorable way. So which is fantastic.
That's what matters. Yeah.
Well, you are also an exceptional student.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you made it easy for teaching. Definitely.
If only he was an exceptional podcast host. But I'm messing with him.
I'm an exceptional co-host, not an exceptional host.
There you
I know
go.
my place.
He is. You are an exceptional
I don't
co-host.
get the big honky microphone like Alex.
That's
does,
all right.
but
That's all right. You're an
nice.
exceptional co-host, so I appreciate that.
Sibling fun. Right?
Exactly.
Yes,
we like
yeah.
to needle
We
each
do
other. Well,
that a lot.
Yeah.
Xavier, who's my dad, who's normally on the podcast with me, he's not here for me to needle today, so Nick will just have to take his place.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't met you, met you yet, Liz, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started Alight Flower Farm.
So I started it in 2016, so 8 years or so ago. I actually had been teaching art history. That's how I know Nick. And I love teaching. I enjoy researching, but writing was just not something I enjoyed. And I wanted to stay in Charlottesville. My family's here. And after you finish a degree in art history and you want to teach, you need to go somewhere else. And I was at a stage of life with a young son that I didn't want to do that.
Right.
So I was actually helping my brother in his greenhouse at Skylar Greens, and that he had just started, and it made me feel like a kid again, and just being around plants and nature, and it was really calming, and it was nice after the kind of intellectual part of art history to kind of get my hands into something and explore that part. So I said to him, hey, maybe I could do this with flowers that I always loved. And he was like, go for it. And my husband, I was surprised he didn't put up barriers to say, are you sure this makes sense, that you want to do this? So I just started experimenting on, my parents had a small farm in Keswick, and kind of growing, seeing what I could do. And so I started with 8 rows, 40 feet long by 4 feet wide, practiced over the summer, and by the fall I was all in and decided that this was it. I finally found my calling.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so I did that and then formed the business, and we delivered cut flowers to lots of local markets in town. And this past year, we've just decided to just kind of specialize. As you're in business, you always having to pivot and kind of rethink things, and we were just spread too thin. So we now sell exclusively through Foods of All Nations as our primary partner.
Got it.
And they had us in, this is a very long answer to you.
No, it's all right. We love to hear this.
the
Well, you're
stories.
going right into my next question, was trying to like how you decided to turn it into a business. So you're right there.
Okay, so then they, from the very beginning, have been just amazing to us. We started as their local flower supplier back towards the bakery, and the customers are great. They were really excited about local flowers. And then in 2020, their main florist decided to focus on weddings. So Tortorella Floral, which is amazing if you're looking for a wedding florist, they decided to do that. So Foods of All Nations asked us to take over the flowers for the entire year. So from March to November, it's our flowers. And then the other parts of the year, or when we have fewer flowers because of the crazy weather,
Yep.
then we're bringing in wholesale flowers that I make into my own designs and bouquets. And then we also took over the gift shop. So,
So you curate that little
so we curate the gift shop.
gift shop. Oh, that's beautifully done. I've
Oh,
noticed that
thank you.
for
Thanks.
for
I
a
thought that
long
was them.
time.
No,
I
that's
didn't
me.
know that.
I keep a
That's
low
wonderful.
profile, but we share the shop, part of the shop with Kaspari. But the foyer, when you enter, and
Yep.
half of the gift shop, and all the flowers are all ours.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's part of why we focused on foods, because we're becoming a gift shop, then it's a whole other business
Right.
in addition to flowers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what types of flowers did you decide to grow? Like, do you have numerous varieties, or where do you specialize in a few?
I love variety, so I've tried just about everything that I can grow in Virginia. I like it to keep it interesting for our customers and also for myself. But now I feel like we're really focusing on the kind of showstopper flowers that we do best. So right now it's dahlia season, which is my absolute favorite because of the colors and varieties and forms. And then we also do lots of beautiful tulip mixes. So not standard tulips, but double kind of peony tulips in a bunch of different colors. Peonies are really big for us. And ranunculus also is one of our favorites. So I'm shifting and changing to those things that I think do really well and that I love the most.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So what are some of your best sellers at this time of year? that
So
people really like?
dahlias are
Dahlia's
it.
the big one.
It's yeah. I brought you some dahlias. I didn't bring them over here. But yes, they're
I can grab them if you'd like.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, we can
Just
show
so you can
people
see what it is. But
the
they're
beauty.
they are not. They don't have a super long base life compared to other flowers.
Oh, that's
Yes.
beautiful.
But these are kind of the flowers that are growing now with some eucalyptus that we grew
Oh, these are
at the
beautiful.
farm.
That's fantastic.
But they're
And,
just, I feel like all you need is dahlias. You don't need everything else with it because they're
like
just so.
well, just they vary
So-
in size and colors. You're
All of
kind
it.
of all your fall
Okay.
colors are kind of covered
Right, yeah.
with just this one
They
variety.
Yeah.
smell amazing.
Now, do you?
I think that's a eucalyptus. I'm not sure if the
Oh, okay. I
dahlias
was
smell.
something smells. Yeah, but
well,
I
eucalyptus is a great,
Yeah,
is a
but I
great
love that
aroma.
fresh floral.
I
Yeah.
love eucalyptus. That's fantastic. Now, to get the different colors, do you pick them at different times, or?
So these
Like
are.
fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for. Well, I
Like a
know.
pear.
Not, I have no green thumb, so these
No,
are just
you're right,
legitimate questions from the heart. Of
Yeah.
like,
Okay, so with dahlias, you generally buy tubers. So think of like a potato.
Yep.
And you
Okay.
plant that, and each tuber, potato-like form, grows one variety of dahlia. So on a single plant, you would have like just the big orange one or just the small yellow one.
Would that,
Each
be,
of
would that be this
these-
one?
So yes, that's called, and they all have different variety names based on the breeder. So that one's Bloomquist Gene because they're
Okay, I wanna show
a
the
breeding
one.
family called the Bloomquist.
so each of those is
I don't know if
actually
you
a
can zoom into
different
this, the big
variety
orange
of
guy.
dahlia. And
Yes.
it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So they're all like they're in the same category, but they're all like a slightly different.
Yeah, there
flower.
are many different types.
Wow.
So people really get into dahlias. They actually show them. I don't do any of that, but they're all kinds of decorative dahlias. They're ball shapes. There are a bunch of different styles or categories within it. So yeah, those are all different.
That's beautiful.
plants.
I
Yeah.
would have never known you to do that with like all dahlias, like that. They're all so different and so unique, even though they're in the same, I guess, species.
Yeah, because
of,
I'd be
Yeah.
sitting there going like, which one's that? And my
Yeah.
wife doesn't know either. So we'd be like, that's nice. It's a shame that we don't know what it is.
Right.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is,
No,
exactly.
I mean I feel like they're one of the few flowers that just has. I mean, there are just so many different varieties and so many different colors. And with my love of art, I feel like drawn to the colors as my palette. I think, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you arranged them beautifully as well, which is the
I mean,
touch
you
of
have
art
to
coming
say that,
out.
but
Yeah.
yes,
I
yeah,
don't
no,
have to say that. I could have just said nothing.
I have fun. That's true. I have fun with them. I
That's
like them.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's beautifully done. Couple shout outs. Bill McChesney watching the show this morning. Monita Miller from Montana watching the show this morning. Taravella Vincenzo from Italy watching the show this morning. Sicily watching the show this morning. So we are going
Get it
international.
right, Sicily. No.
Yes, I want to make sure I get that right. From Sicily watching the show this morning. So we are international this morning, which is fantastic. So, Liz, what's the experience kind of been like for you as an entrepreneur? Because you have obviously growing the flowers and being with them, which is the passion there. What's
Right.
it like on the entrepreneurship side, curating things for Foods of All Nations and then, turning this passion into sales, and providing them?
I think starting with the flowers helped because I'm an introvert. So my idea of doing sales, I know it's a part of the business. It's crucial. It's not my favorite part. I feel like the flowers have kind of sold themselves. In that, once we started selling at Foods of All Nations, and that connection was through my brother, and he sold his lettuce there. So that helped me a lot. But the florists that we sell to, they've found our flowers through Foods or something. So I haven't had to do a lot of cold calling or marketing in that way. And then with our gifts, we're also very lucky that Foods has a dedicated clientele. And so
that's nice.
even with the pandemic, there were people that have to go there. So if I had a freestanding gift shop that many of my peers in retail do, that's, I feel much more difficult because you have to drive traffic to your individual store. And I benefit from people going to grab a bottle of wine and then they can pick up a housewarming gift, or you go to get something, food that you need, but your kid has a birthday party the next day, you can grab something then instead of having to go many places. So that's helped me tremendously to be able to do that. So yeah, I think that's how. But in terms of entrepreneurship, I would say the thing that I struggle with most is staying. Someone said recently that you need to. I think it was a flower farmer on Profit, and she was saying you need to work on the business instead of in the business. And I am very much stuck in the business. I feel and trying to I do have help, but finding that balance between distancing yourself enough so that you can work on the marketing and the higher level things, but then still being close enough into that you can focus on quality and some of that. So I don't know if you have any tips on how to get the zoom out.
It is a recurring.
It's a recurring theme. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a work in progress. Every business owner struggles with because I don't think there is a true hardcore balance. It's just sort of you have to. Today's this, today's that, tomorrow, and each business has its own struggles. I mean, one of the things I was going to ask you about was we've had horrendous weather. I don't know, has that how that's another aspect of the business that for instance in our business we don't have to take into account because if it rains, it doesn't. The stock market will move regardless.
Yeah, right.
But for flowers, how do you balance how do you? Is it another layer of activity there to do when something like this is happening?
Yes and no. So yes, in that the weather is crucial to how the flowers are going to look and behave and the vase life and all of that. In addition to weather, it correlates with weather, but pest problems are also, I feel the first couple years of being a flower farm, you are living the dream. It is amazing. Everything is beautiful. And then you get to year 6, I feel and all of the pests know where your farm is.
Oh, they
right. So
it takes them a while trying to find you almost.
Yeah, it's manageable, and then it just. I mean, deer are always a problem, but it's spider mites and thrips and just all kinds of pests. Yeah. So on the one hand, you just have to realize that Mother Nature is boss, and there's nothing you can do. You just have to let it go. And, even something that I grew great the year before, the next year it just might be a failure. Like that's just kind of the way it works.
Yep.
I think the thing that Foods of All Nations, since we're there and we also provide flowers that are out of season and just kind of more standard florist bouquets, then it gives me an out if I'm having trouble in the field. Whereas when I was going to all the different local markets, then it was much more of a stressor because it was only our farm flowers. So I like to do ours most, but I also have to be realistic that what I can do. And this summer was absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it just with the no rain and just how hot it was, and so
and
yeah,
a lot of pests. I've heard a lot of pests this summer
Oh my
because of the mild winter last year. They didn't.
It was crazy.
Not too few died. In the winter.
No. And then there are these little things called thrips. It looks like an eyelash, and they come in on the wind when it's warm, and then they're really hard to deal with once, and they make everything brown, like the blooms. Like it'll look beautiful, and the next day you're like, oh, it's brown. It's because it's a thrip. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And just come in on the wind and you probably have to have a good eye to spot them if they're like the size of an eyelash.
You can tell. I feel like usually you see the flower quality go downhill, and then you
realize.
Yeah, that you have it. So we actually put organza bags on our dahlias to keep the bugs
Keep the
out.
bugs off. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so much that you have to kind of figure out and deal with. All the behind the scenes.
Right, that's the thing, is that there's the behind the scenes entrepreneurship, and then there's the marketing and sales entrepreneurship. Like there's all the hats you have to wear, just coming on and off all the time.
Instagram farm life is not farm life.
Oh, that's
Instagram farm life.
It is not.
Absolutely.
It's cropping all the weeds out of the photo,
Yeah. Kevin Hayden's watching the show this morning, says, even in this once in 1,000-year storm, the flowers still grow. So thank you, Ms. Nabi. Thank you, Mrs. Nabi, for...
I lucked out. We didn't get hit hard in the way that, lots of other...
He's thanking you for still bringing some brightness
thank
to the area, even in on a gloomy, cloudy day.
Well, listen, that's when you need them most. Yeah.
Right, or a pick-me-up.
It really is. So when you curate the gift shop and match it with do you kind of think about the season of your flowers and what you want to kind of pair with it?
So initially, that's that's kind of how I did it. But the more I discovered that was out there in terms of gifts, I really picked things that I am drawn to and that I like, and have moved. We still do some nature-themed items, but really kind of moved away from that. I mean, maybe I'll do that in springtime when the flowers start blooming again. But more like we have UVA stuff for the people that come to the games, and we're right with Foods are right there.
Thinking about where we are. Who's coming.
We definitely have the toys for the grab-and-go gifts. We have St. Anne's across the street. But parents are coming in often. Candles, and we have Jellycat stuffed animals, which are super huge right now if you have a kid, and they're so adorable. It really varies just in terms of what I guess I'm drawn to or think our customers might like.
Yeah.
I think you usually go into it and you're like, oh, this is what it's going to be, and these are the themes I'm going to use. And I think the more you do it, you realize, well, people may not want something to go with the theme. They want something that fills a need in their life.
Yes.
Right, where they need to
go
pick it up.
That makes perfect sense. So now you mentioned March through November.
Yes.
Are the dahlias kind of the last thing for the fall, or is there?
They're it. So we will get frost. It just depends. Maybe as early as mid-October, and then the season will be over.
Yes.
Our farm is a little bit cooler than I feel like some of the other farms, so sometimes we get frost earlier. You can save the dahlias by running sprinklers all night, and a layer of ice will form on them. and that will protect them from the temperatures that go below 32 degrees, kind of like the vineyards do, but they do it on a much larger scale with
Right.
That's amazing. I did
helicopters
not
and
know that.
So
You can
the
do
layer
that.
of ice protects them.
yes.
That's okay.
That's fascinating.
That's
I had
interesting.
no
I
clue.
had no clue. Yeah.
I would, to be honest, in my lack of knowledge, I would have thought I would have been like,
I was like,
oh no, it's
done.
over. It has ice.
gone.
It's
Yeah,
finished.
it actually, I mean, I could be wrong on the science behind it, but it's more like
That's
that.
amazing.
It's not so much the freezing per se, it's that as the sun warms up, then it'll cause the cells in the flowers to expand and kind
Wow.
of explode. So you're dealing with the sun.
That's
also.
amazing.
That might be completely wrong, but that's.
But obviously it works. So if you
But-
wet them, they live.
Yeah.
So we can do that, but I'd say that really by the end of October. So if we don't get it mid-October, definitely
And-
we get something by like Halloween usually. You can keep them going, but your day length is shortening
Yep.
each day. And once you're below like 12 hours of sunlight, they just don't bloom at the same level.
Yeah.
And not many Virginia growers have done winter growing. It's just not cost effective to have a greenhouse, I
Yeah.
feel like, to do that on the small scales that most of us are working on.
Right.
But you can do that. And we've started to do some winter growing in that we're forcing tulips inside
Oh, okay.
for cut flowers. But otherwise, I need a break,
Yeah.
actually,
Well,
from
yeah.
farming.
No, of course.
To
'Cause
regroup.
It's physical labor.
It's a lot of,
As well.
it's fun work, but it's a lot of work.
I was
And
going
then-
to say that's part of the beauty of flowers in general is that there's a season for them and then
Right.
the season to rest.
Yeah.
Like, but and then makes them all the more enjoyable when you see them again.
Yeah.
Come spring.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of spring, right? I
Yeah.
think part of its beauty is that we're seeing things that we have missed for a while. And
Yeah.
if they had been there, if it was spring all the time, would we love it quite as much? I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not, but I
probably.
mean, winter still could be shorter. And I
Yeah.
think we
Oh, yeah.
I
We're with
agree.
you there.
Yeah.
We're with you there.
Yeah.
Just
We're with
lengthen
you there.
everything and just except winter you just
Yeah, just
shrink it a little bit, yeah.
bit, just
Exactly.
a little bit.
For
Yeah.
me, I'm
Exactly.
like once Christmas is over, I just want winter to be done.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I feel
done
like
with the winter.
you want the snow so bad for the holiday season, and then it can just kind of go away.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
After Three Kings, let's start warming up.
Start
again,
warming
yeah.
up. So- exactly. Exactly. Let
Definitely.
those spring flowers start coming.
Yeah.
So, Liz, this has been fantastic. So, people definitely physically, as far as location, can find you in Foods of All Nations.
Yes.
Where can people find you online, learn more, and see what you're up to, especially, I guess, when flowers return in March?
Yeah, so we are on Instagram. We are A Light Flower Farm. Also, A Light Seaville is our gift shop handle.
Okay.
And on Facebook, both A Light Flower Farm and A Light Seaville. And our website is alightflowerfarm.com. Those are the
alightflowerfarm.com.
places you can
So
find us.
the key word is a light. It's either going to be a light flower farm or a light Seaville, and
Right.
they will find you.
Yes, and they can also email me at liz@alightflowerfarm.com or liz@alightseaville.com. We don't usually sell flowers directly just because we don't have the volume, but it's worth a shot. You can always ask, and if I have extra, I'm happy to share them.
That's
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
Well, Liz, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on today. It's been wonderful to see your beautiful work
Thank you
there
so
and to learn about it. So definitely would encourage people to go check out alightflowerfarm.com and pass by
Yeah,
your spot.
when you're
spot
in Food of All Nations,
in Food of All
picking up
Nations.
your sushi or whatever you like to get there, just check out
Yeah.
the flowers.
Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Really appreciate you inviting me. I'm very honored to
And
be
it's a
here.
pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for what
Good
you
to
do.
see
Good to see you again, definitely. Thank you.
Take care. And we will go ahead, and as we rotate, it's always beautiful, I think, just to see. And now the nice thing is now every time I go to that, to Foods of All Nations, I always see, you can't not see the little gift shop. It's
No.
right there when you walk
And
in.
it's so much fun.
It's
You know,
always
it's like-
cute. I always pass by sometimes. And so it'll be nice. And I think Judah's going to go studio cam here if he hasn't already.
Are we ready? So,
Ju-
yeah, we're standing.
Oh, he did it already. So Matthias is
got,
joining us this morning. And here's the surprise that Matthias, it is Oktoberfest, so Matthias
That's the
is here
surprise.
with the Lederhosen.
with the
See
Lederhosen.
me in full
in
Bavarian
traditional-
gear. I've been promising this for 2 years, and today's the day.
And not today's the day. I am just thrilled. I am thrilled for it.
I think it was 2 years ago. You asked me. hey,
that we
well,
thought
what
about
would
it.
you tell me?
The leader husband, yeah.
Here I am.
So we are thrilled for it.
sorry.
It's awesome to see and traditional. Matthias was telling us this is from Munich. Like this is your traditional lederhosen that you've had for a while.
Exactly. So that is traditional to the area in Bavaria, in Munich, and that area. Let's just say the Alpine area, because in some parts of Austria you wear lederhosen as well. So it's not
but that's not
only
the-
specific
it's not
to
really
German,
Austria.
but yeah, that's
No,
just
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
for sake of example. This is a Bavarian traditional outfit.
That's
I say that in jest in the hope that Yona's not watching, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because where Jonah is from, they wear it too.
Yeah, just right over the border.
And I bring gifts. I
thank
actually
you.
found real Oktoberfest beer in a local wine store here in
I
Charlottesville.
was to say, let me
Yeah.
hold up a bottle.
Hold
so
it
they can
up
see the-
here.
It's so funny. Matthias and I were having the same idea. We both found the very
And you
brands.
brought one.
You
too,
went with
okay?
the Weinstefaner, and I had found Einder, some
perfect.
Oktoberfest beer.
You want to have some?
Yes.
We will
Judah.
cheer.
You should bring.
Oh,
you
there's-
should have a bottle too.
There's lots of
You
places
as well.
around town
do.
where you can find
Liz,
them.
you
I
want
know
beer?
for sure.
A breakfast beer.
For
So you
sure.
can buy them at Beer Run, or that wine shop that is next to Meineke on Emmett
Dude, it's
Street.
prepared.
Oh,
Like
the
where
beer and
Whole
wine,
Foods is?
Charlottesville, the beer and wine imports.
Exactly. They
Nice.
have imported beer as well.
Yep. So that's always, especially this time of year, and what's beautiful about Bavaria is that for people who like go into German beer, they really do have a beer for like every season, every holiday. When I was there for my honeymoon last year,
Yeah.
it was May, so they had Maibock,
Maibock.
which is like a May beer essentially. And then apparently they had something special for that reason, which was Johannesbach or something. So, which was really interesting because
Was that for St. John or is that not religious related at all?
no,
it
yeah, it was.
actually
No,
is,
it
yeah.
was.
Yes,
it
you're
was the
right,
religious. I can't remember if it's. Yeah, it
St.
must
John
be
the
St.
Baptist,
John the Baptist or some kind of holiday that was upcoming. So you make a beer for the feast day, and just in that area, he was big, and then there was another like feast day that was really big that they would ride. And if Monica Miller is watching, she could probably remind me what it was that they would take a horse all the way up to like a hill.
Monica says, hello, Matthias. You look so Bavarian. Very, very nice.
Hello,
awesome.
Monica. Thanks. I appreciate someone acknowledging the effort of
Oh no,
here today.
it's beautiful, and it is dear.
You know, it was. I parked here in the parking house next door, and I was wondering how many people are going to greet me and ask me, "What the heck are you wearing?" And then, I mean, you heard it. Right as we entered this building
hear
here,
it,
someone yelled in Bavarian accent, "Servus." A person I've never seen before. Yet
very
It took us
someone
5
from
minutes
Munich
to get a
just
Servus.
recognizing what I was wearing.
Which is basically like hello.
It's almost like I paid him to do that.
Almost, except like
Well, it
it's
sounds
but it's
like
I feel like
salve,
it's
like a
classic,
Latin, right?
classic Charlottesville, though. Right, you're walking out in 5 minutes in Lederhosen, and we have our first
Somebody
Servus.
from somewhere knows exactly what's going on. Yeah.
But if you want to see a crowd of people dressed like this, you can come and see us on Saturday. We will have like a German-American Association event. It's our regular monthly Stammtisch, but we make it an Oktoberfest event in Nelson County at the Blue Mountain Brewery.
Blue Mountain Brew. Oh,
They
is that
have-
the
Oh, that's
one?
not far at all.
That's not far
No,
from
they
us.
have a really nice beer garden. It's going to be sunny.
Is it the one off
Finally.
151?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
what time is it?
We will be there from 12 to 4.
Oh, I think we
Which
need to.
coincides with the live music. There's a band that will play what Americans call Oompa music.
Yes,
But it's,
okay.
it's describing the
Is-
Bavarian.
Is that like polka or?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
in
know
some
polka.
way.
I've never heard of oompa.
It's kind of like a version of
Yeah, that's how they call it. And I've
very
seen that term several times. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's beautiful. Oh, that's fantastic that you have that.
They
coming up.
they have German beer there. They have their own beer, of course, and they actually have pretty decent German pub food, or let's call it beer garden food.
Beer garden food,
So it's a nice atmosphere.
Their
and
burgers
it
are
has
good,
a
right?
very
How
beer
about
garden atmosphere.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because
And you see the mountains.
the mountains, the tables,
Exactly.
you got your picnic tables, your outdoors, your flowers. So it definitely has
And
that
non-Germans
feel.
are allowed.
Yes,
Even
so
Sicilians, yes.
all the Germans that are listening and watching, all those that speak German, because a lot of Americans will be there that have some kind of association with Germany,
Married a
or a
German.
spouse that is German, like our friend Alex here, or those that are just interested.
That's my ticket
please
in.
come join us.
That's my ticket in. Is my,
That's
my
your ticket
spouse. I'm going to say, Elizabeth, you are my ticket.
Oh, yeah, my sister-in-law is Bavarian. I'm coming in.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
our reason
It's,
to
and it's
come.
such a beautiful thing, right? That you can be here in Charlottesville, right, in the South in America, but you can still find a group, right, with whom you can share the culture and history and atmosphere and good times and good beer and a language that you share.
Yeah, Americans are really obsessed with Oktoberfest. You know, I see a lot of
It's an
events.
opportunity to drink.
Exactly. And, you know, I brought this beer for you thinking that you might want to drink
I would like
one
to.
as we are
Well, we can
here.
at least do a Prost. What is it?
And
Prost.
I was also looking for non-alcoholic Oktoberfest beer, and they have it.
No way.
I
It's
got
a
one.
California brewery that does Oktoberfest beer, non-alcoholic.
Alcoholic
Oh,
Oktoberfest beer.
perfect.
Oh man, if you have enough
Judah
beers,
and you, you should come and get it.
yeah, the whole
too.
place can enjoy it.
Jerry,
Jerry's gonna want one too. Here I can open it for you. See, this is the beautiful. I do. I prefer it. We're making, but every once in a while, right? I feel like we got to take advantage of the fact that we actually do have a live studio audience. You know, we don't advertise it
Cheers,
like on
Judah.
television,
No.
like live
we
studio.
actually
but we
advertise
actually do
non-alcoholic
have
beer. Cheers.
a live studio audience.
Yeah. Cheers.
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 What would you say in German? You would say Prost.
Prost.
Prost to a beautiful October.
Oh, that's good. See, that's the kind of beer
Beautifully
I like.
done.
I was worried for a moment.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
No, that's.
Have you ever been to the Oktoberfest in Munich?
No, I have not. I've only been. So I went there. It was still May. So they had different festivals. That apparently they do different festivals all year long for different things. They had just finished, or were just about to do a festival because they had all the maypoles up, all the really large poles. And they were about to do a festival where they would take everyone up to a big hill with a horse, where there was like a little church, and the whole area would come and do this. And it had something to do with a legend where someone had a horse basically had been trapped in a church and somehow rang the bell to escape. And so there's this whole festival that happens. But I have not yet been for Oktoberfest, although I was told by
Judas cracking up behind the scenes at the horse.
yeah, at
story.
the story. It was a hilarious story, but I was told by Uncle Hans, my wife's uncle,
Uncle
that
Hans.
I need to return for Oktoberfest because he wants to take us to Munich during that time where the beer halls they just have the massive beer halls and beer gardens where they put all the tables together and people just go and have a good time.
Yeah, so when you hear Oktoberfest, it's not only referring to that big commercialized event in Munich, in the center of Munich, which most Americans know about, right? Each village in southern Germany, even in southwestern Germany and part of Austria, they have their own Oktoberfest celebration. And usually it involves a tent and benches where people gather and have beer, but also eat and lots of music and games. Actually, the history of Oktoberfest is that King Ludwig I, early 1800s, he got married, and so he wanted to have a big celebration, and I think it was several days, 5 days or so, in the center of Munich. Well, now it's the center of Munich. Back then it was outside, actually, a big meadow, the Theresienwiese, and he just had food and beer and music and a horse race. And
the horse
that
race
tradition
is so classic.
continued. And while we no longer have the horse race, We now have merry-go-rounds, and
Yes, and
it's a big fair,
Yeah.
right?
cool.
And millions of visitors each year. It's an international event now, but that's how it actually started.
Just
And it's
him
still-
And
celebrating
it's not
his
the same
birthday.
as the King Ludwig
No,
II.
that
That's a
King
different
Ludwig
one.
II,
No.
the crazy one, I think is his
Yes,
son.
okay. That was his son.
No,
not his
don't
son?
confuse him with the second. The second is the one that, well, you call
Is
it
the crazy one
The one with the
But
Neuschwanstein
yeah,
castle,
so
the one that loved Wagner. Yeah.
he built Neuschwanstein Castle, or he started it at least. It's still not finished, but it is not the son of Ludwig I that I'm talking to. It's just the name, the elected name of Ludwig II.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know
So
that.
I think Ludwig II's father was King Maximilian.
Wow.
So he doesn't even
Different
have to. So
entirely.
Ludwig I doesn't have any
Right.
association.
That
He's
was-
He
spared.
lived later. That was end of the 1800s,
okay.
and the one who got married was the beginning of 1800s.
I was
beginning of
trying to
1800s.
sneak Wagner into this conversation.
Nope,
Matthias
no
is
Wagner, no
absolutely
Wagner
not.
connection.
Speaking of which, Monica Miller says Prost.
Oh, Prost.
And Prost.
Prost.
And thank you to Edward
Monica.
Herron for watching. He was our guest a couple weeks ago.
Which is a pleasure. Yes, thank you for watching.
Now,
Always-
does the style of beer change per season as well? Or is it just sort of like whatever beer they feel like making? 'Cause-
No, so for the October season, it's actually a fest beer.
Okay.
So it's a maltier version of the regular
Yeah.
lager. But again, and Germans are very strict about brewing beer. It has to
It's
align
great.
with
I love
the
that.
purity law. I think
Oh.
that's how you translate it to English.
Interesting. Okay.
So when you go and buy beer here in the U.S., it is Germans would call it a beer-like drink because it's not actual beer according to the original recipe. I think that's what I was told.
There are strict rules, for how they
Yeah.
do it out there, and old monasteries.
Judah
that
was
have
pointing
little-
out it's on the label of the bottle. It says brewed under
under the purity law of
1516. Thank you, Judah. I
It
didn't
has
catch
to be
that.
on the label.
It's so
Yeah,
neat.
it's almost like in wine how there's some of the stamp
the
of
denomination,
the denomination of origin controlled. It's
Yeah,
probably
it's the
similar.
same as
You
like
have
the
to do it
Italian wine
according to a
boards.
certain
Yeah.
way, but there are still old monasteries and stuff that they're either continuing to make beer or the brewery is now a separate entity, but it's where there used to be a monastery.
And the monks come and just like making
Yeah.
sure they're doing it right.
So especially back in the day, each village and town they had their own brewery or facility where they made their own beer, right? And now, well, you can still find it, but it's more that corporations own several of those microbreweries. They combine them oftentimes, but it's still a typical German tradition. And not unique to Germany, but since we're talking about it, that every town they have their own beer.
Yep, they have their
That's so
little
neat.
thing. In fact, the one that was near the town where we went, when I went then to my wife's grandmother's house, Uncle Hans showed us a basement where, because way in the past, their ancestors had sold the beer from the monastery. So they would take the beer, put it in this little basement to keep it cool, and then sell it around the area from
So
the
neat,
thing.
yeah.
So it was like a little town effort where, okay, you go get it, you put it here, and now you can go send it to other people. And this is like, 1800s when they're doing this. So it's just amazing, like that long history and culture. And now to see that it lives on here in people that have come, like you, Matthias, and the Stammtisch that have come here in Charlottesville, but like it continues to live on in its own way.
Yeah, because after all, we have many Germans in Charlottesville. I didn't know that either when I moved here, but we have. Actually, was it last week that you had a guest on the show? It was Edward Herring. Edward Herring. So he actually, I don't think he started it, but he oversees the German American Association. He speaks German. Well, he speaks probably 8 languages. So
Oh, yeah, we knew
you met him, yeah.
Yeah, he started speaking Spanish. I didn't know he
Yep.
spoke German too. Wow.
Yeah, he speaks fluent German.
Wow.
That's
So
amazing.
he'll be there on Saturday as well.
That's right. Oh, man, so hopefully we get to see him. That's awesome.
Are you coming?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to come.
perfect.
I'm gonna
Like,
try.
I'm not far.
I'll
I
move
should
my
come,
schedule. Yeah, especially I'm
We
not far from there.
rearrange
I
the
will try to
schedule.
rearrange
Yeah,
my
you live in
schedule.
Crozet.
Yeah, no, I just
To,
tell Elizabeth, I gotta go. I gotta run some errands
come,
for
come.
4 hours. I may come back smelling like beer.
Ali Savindi watching the show this morning. Thank you, Ali,
hi,
for tuning in. Always appreciate it. But that's fantastic. And just to, were you surprised? Because I know it's always a joy when we came to Charlottesville and began when we moved here. You know, you move here not knowing sometimes what groups are around, right? What kind of groups of people that all from a different country that you'll find here. And so we knew there were some Latinos, but we're like, you're not going to find Cubans in Charlottesville. And then little by little, you get the joy of being like, oh, there are some Cubans here. There's some Cubans there. Was that kind of your experience? As little by little, you realized, oh my goodness, there are other people who speak German here.
Yeah, I moved here in 2014, and I assumed that I would at some point meet another German or a German family that is here because of UVA or any other reason. But then I realized that there's actually a monthly reunion of the German Stammtisch, and so that there are families that go there. I would say most Germans that live here, that moved here, are here because of UVA, which makes sense, right? They work as in the German department or just as instructors in general. But I know Germans that work in all fields and made Charlottesville or the surrounding area their home. Just like myself, I was not affiliated with UVA when I moved here. Still not. Right? No, but as I was preparing for today, I knew that you might talk about German population. So I went on the internet and looked up because I was curious about the actual population. And here's what I found out.
I love this. I've been looking forward
Yeah,
to
no,
this.
I was gonna say he's got secret information that we don't have.
There's actually this census website where you can look up the demographics for each city in the U.S. And that's how I found out. We have 232 German residents in Albemarle County and about 50 living in the city of Charlottesville.
Wow.
So let's say 300 here in metropolitan area of Charlottesville.
Oh, that's neat.
And I would say I only know 50 of them.
Yeah.
So there are more of us hiding.
Yeah.
There's
somewhere.
a big Stammtisch out there somewhere. Like, we just have to make it.
That's right. And actually, what I found interesting, we have a bigger population of Germans here than in Richmond. And
Despite being a small
Richmond has 230,000 residents. Charlottesville and Albemarle, maybe 130 total.
total.
Right?
Do you think the mountains have something to do with it?
No, I think it has to do with a very strong language department at UVA, German department or similar.
Yep. They do have a strong department there
Yeah.
of languages. Yes.
Many Germans, and they have an Oktoberfest celebration too in 2 weeks at UVA in the German
Interesting.
department.
Okay.
That's amazing. Yeah, they have a strong German and a strong Spanish department, which I think also.
I was going to say
contributes.
one of the things I found out is, and one of the reasons I couldn't further my education in ancient Roman history is because I did not take German, which is ironic. But you have to, when you're really going deep, you take German because a huge amount of ancient Roman scholarship is by German scholars from the 1800s.
Oh, my
so you have to
goodness.
learn German to go into, and I'm like, I can't start a whole new language. I'm just gonna have to, go to work.
It reminds me of going to school in Germany, and we all had to learn Latin for many years.
Wow.
And we were all complaining because it's a dead language, right? Why do we need to learn it? But now I'm glad because it laid the foundation for all Romanic languages.
Yes.
That's
It's
how I learned
not quite
Spanish.
as dead as they pretend it
No.
is. Yeah.
Well, and
It has many
It's a
offspring.
funny thing because by its own nature, it then makes learning others easier.
Exactly.
Like I thought, just growing up, our dad obviously he spoke Spanish, but we didn't really. When you have one parent who speaks Spanish and the other who speaks Italian, you end up speaking English in the house. You don't end up really getting deep into either one of them. So we didn't grow up speaking much Spanish, and then I remember Spanish was very hard in high school. Then I took Latin at like the end of high school. And then when I went back to Spanish in college, I said, this is so easy. I half the word is gone.
But I'm curious, do you know other Italians here? I mean, because of your parents
Keith
and
Smith,
their
I guess, is
and
still-
their origin. Oh, he's more Irish, right?
Well, he's Italian. He knows. I would say he's half Italian, and every once in a while we'll talk. He'll reference something. I'll be like, "Oh, he's Italian." It's you meet like when just spend a little time. You're like, I was gonna say like I think he's very easy.
And obviously the Finazzo family at Sal's.
The Finazzo family. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
They're from Sicily, I believe.
And do you have like a get together among Italians?
No, we don't have a big Italian.
I don't know.
I don't know how many Italian. Did your
I think we
number
tend to-
have? How
tend
many
to meet
Italians?
I'm
more
are
glad
there?
you ask.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What are we looking at?
Here we go. No, not too many.
Yeah.
57 in Albemarle County, 41 in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Wow, it's more German.
So
than
more
Italians.
Germans than
Yeah.
Italians.
Italians.
And
Yeah.
then we met a lot of people coming from New. That's the interesting thing is that the thing that we'd find is that my parents would start talking to people. They'd be like, "Are you from New York?" And then we find out that there's a tremendous amount of people who came down from New York. To
So they might have some
Charlottesville.
Italian
So there's like
blood,
all
even if
these
they're not
New Yorkers,
Italian.
but not necessarily specifically.
They are not
like
in that
Italian
number
New Yorkers.
because this number is referring to foreign-born.
Yes. So you might have
Population.
some
Like
you know
Italians,
like
yeah.
if they're coming down from New York or up north or up north.
Well,
Like,
second
like your
generation
mother would
tend to
go
mix.
in that
Yeah.
number,
No.
but
No.
not you.
No,
Yeah.
my mother was.
Yeah, mother was
here.
born in Brooklyn.
Oh, she was born
she
here.
Yeah, she was
so,
born here. I'm not sure that's made, man. Unless they waive the rules.
so
I
you
don't know.
have Cuban.
But we have half Cuban, right? So that's the thing is that like, would we?
In Havana.
So your father was 29, 30 in Charlottesville. Rich.
He's in the Cuban we can get.
Anyway, I was just.
I'm curious, is there anything else?
Albania. That went to me, and I was capital Richmond that we would have. It specifies Charlottesville considering the size of immigrants, and again foreign.
University a comfort level to people that don't just have roots in other places, but are actually born there themselves.
Well, I guess it's important in that regard. When I moved here, and again, I wasn't affiliated with UVA, moved here because of relationship, very different reason. But I quickly realized that although it's a small city, it's very cosmopolitan, just because of the reach of UVA. And I mean, we always talk about UVA, but we also have large, important in Albemarle UVA and Martha Jefferson, the quality of employers here in the area.
Well, we have a question
Yeah,
from an audience member. It's Tom Johnson says, "Guten Tag, Herr Jon." Sorry, I said John because I'm reading it. Why does Oktoberfest start in September, and why does German beer taste better than American beer? So if you've got a two-pronged question.
Well, the second question, I was very proud of its breweries. And it's to be, the original recipe, the purity law. And I know I sound very German right now, but to follow the ingredients. And
Yeah.
That's the case with
I
most.
think I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic here, which is, a German would reprimand me for drinking this probably, but think a German lager is just, it's the simplicity of the ingredients that makes it a very typical German beer, right? Hard to compare to what American breweries do.
I think they're
because
just very different
it's
in how they make it.
I think that's the answer. And then the other part of the question, season. You know, the weather gets less pleasant in October compared to September in Germany, and also the days get shorter, right? And so to take full advantage of this, because everything is outdoors, unless you go inside a beer tent, they decided to start in September, but it has to end. The Oktoberfest has to end on the first Sunday in October.
Oh, okay.
And so that varies every year, of course.
Right.
But it's 16 or 18 days of Oktoberfest celebration. Starts in September, will end in October. But yeah, the reason for that is really just weather and length of the day.
So it's almost like they count backwards, right? So it's like this day has to be the end, and so we need 18 days going
And
back.
we're gonna
That's
name
right.
it after the. Okay, interesting.
But we call it Oktoberfest, yeah. But some people take it too far. Did you see that Borset? Yeah, Borset in Charlottesville, the resort. They had an Oktoberfest beginning of September, I think.
Well, that's too
Interesting.
early, though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but I noticed a lot of companies start sending everything out earlier because I think they want to take advantage of the buying season. Like, come buy
It's like
the beer
Christmas,
early.
where Christmas is actually from December 25th to January 6th, but we call Christmas like as soon as Thanksgiving is over. That's Christmas.
Yeah, I think America doesn't have a particular patience, I think, for holidays. We like to start them really early.
That's right.
That's
The
why
anticipation, I think, is more fun
Yeah.
for a lot of Americans
I mean,
than
we were
the
seeing
actual
Halloween. I don't know about your neighborhoods. We were seeing Halloween decorations 2 weeks ago.
Last month already,
And
yeah.
I was like, it's September 15th. Halloween is the last day in October.
No, the
But
crazy
it
part for me
starts
was
early.
when I came home from, from when we came home from Italy in August, and I went to Costco to make a trip, and there's Christmas stuff out. That was the one that was crazy to me.
Yeah, you can buy Christmas cookies already.
Yeah, it's
But I think
it's crazy.
Well, and I think part of it is I think also we have, correct me if I'm wrong, we have less public festivals, I think, than like places like Germany or a lot of places in Europe. Like there are more celebrations in between. In other words, in Germany, it's nothing happens between Independence Day in Germany and Christmas. There are this celebration or this feast or that feast. Local
All of
towns
Europe
will have
tends to
their
do that,
own
yeah.
little thing
Depending
going
on where you
on.
are. That's
Yeah.
right.
And so I think when you have more things to celebrate in your little area, you don't feel the need to say, well, I need to start Oktoberfest in August because I have nothing going on in August. There are other things to do.
Most likely, yes. Depending on where you are in Germany. I remember when we moved to northern Germany, when I was older, we realized that there are less holidays in northern Germany than in southern Germany, because southern Germany, Bavaria, is mostly Catholic.
Yeah.
And so there are more religious holidays
Catholics
than
like to party,
in other
yeah.
parts.
Yeah, one of the beauties of being Catholic, being part Italian, you have this, you have no shortage of saints, and therefore you have no shortage of potential feast days, because you just have, and they don't even have to be significant. I mean, on the big thing, just sometimes you'll go to a town in Italy and there's a saint you've never heard of, but there's a whole
he's big in
parade.
that saint, yeah.
There's a whole parade going on, and you'll sit there and say, "Who was this person?" Say, "Well, this person lived in 1660 and they did this," but the whole town is
And
out
it's like
for
you
it.
read about them, they live this like pure, chaste, quiet life, and we celebrate that by blowing
By
out
partying.
a giant party.
for 2 weeks.
But I mean, we do it here too. We have lots of celebrations to commemorate origin or special events, like Oktoberfest right now.
Exactly.
Isn't it also Hispanic Heritage Month right now?
It is through
Yes.
October 15th. So we
And
get-
and as we just found out, Charlesville is comprised of many
A lot of
ethnicities
Hispanics, yeah.
and residents of different countries. So we have a lot to commemorate and celebrate.
It's-
Speaking
it's-
of which,
Amen. Yep.
Speaking of
Well,
which, yes.
so this is a very, very special podcast today.
Oh, it is.
Right? Very different to our
One for the history
other.
books. My father says hello to Matthias, and I'm sure he's missing out today because he likes
Accept
beer.
my regards. Yeah, we don't talk about real estate today, not about work at all. We just sit here in a funny outfit.
What?
It's a beautiful
drink beer.
outfit. I was like,
Because
it's not-
ultimately, that's what we
Yeah.
are, right? We're people. We do things, right? We have tasks that we do in jobs and businesses that we have to help others. But when it comes deep down to it, like we're people, and we celebrate. We like to celebrate who we are and where we're from, and the deep roots that we have in places far away, but that led us here.
That's right. No, I'm actually happy that once a year I get the opportunity to wear this outfit for a few times now. Again, we have our Oktoberfest event. Didn't think that I would at some point sit here in front of a microphone with this.
But I'm glad you did.
That also gives me the chance to show houses today in the afternoon in this outfit.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
That'll be a blast for your clients that you're showing some homes to. That will be wonderful.
I should probably walk through the grocery store like this just to get some attention.
You know, well, especially
a
if you were
conversation
showing like
starter.
any land, like a field, you really look.
You should get a piece of straw
Right at
and
home.
just, you know.
I mean, that's actually the history of those leather pants, the Lederhosen. They were, originally that's what people wear in Bavaria and other southern parts of Germany and in Austria, just because it's very durable, it's weather resistant, and that's how you would work on the field. It's either cow leather or deer leather. This is deer
That
leather.
is deer.
But those Lederhosen, they will last for another 100 years.
Wow.
And in fact, they age well.
Well, that's the beauty
they
of
look
leather.
better
It
than
That
only,
is
it only
nice,
improves
yeah.
with age. Can I ask you as a closing thing? I want to ask, when you put that on, are there like memories from your childhood or your youth that kind of come to mind when you think about?
Not from childhood, because even though we lived in Bavaria when I was young, we then moved away, and I didn't move back to Munich until I was an adult. So my memories are really
Being a young adult.
Oktoberfest and beer tents. That's what I think of when I put the clothes on. And when I say Oktoberfest, it's so much more than beer. It's just this 3 weeks of celebration, and it's a lot of fun. Especially when you live in Munich and you don't have to pay expensive hotels. It's very hard for visitors to find accommodations during Oktoberfest.
So instead of childhood nostalgia, would you say there's a sense of almost national pride that comes with that instead, like a sense of like a cultural heritage?
Joy.
Yeah, I would say that, yes. Americans typically and falsely think that what I'm wearing today represents German culture, which is not accurate because it's really specific to Bavaria. Like my parents live in the very north of Germany right now, on the border to Denmark. They would, there where they live, never wear this outfit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when they come to the U.S. and Americans ask them, "Oh, did you bring your Lederhosen?" They would have to say, "No, I never owned it."
Yes, it's
regional
It's
differences.
a regional
it's very
thing. It's just
interesting,
so very tied to place, I think.
Yeah.
Because people have been in a certain place for so long that it's tied very much to the.
Well, it's just typical. The more further removed you are from a certain culture, the less of the nuance, like things will
differences, yeah.
take
Sure.
over. It's like pasta Alfredo being an Italian. It's not really an Italian
No,
thing.
it's
It's a
American.
northern Italian thing. Yeah, so they're very specific to one region, and Sicilians never
Would never have it.
Would never have it.
But look, sure, there's pride involved. I live here now for 10 years. My wife is American. My daughter was born here last year and will be,
Once
American. But I will always remain German in a unique way. I will have dual citizenship, and it's important for me to be both American because I live here now and I'm fully integrated, without forgetting where I come from.
Yep,
Right.
exactly.
So every now and then, I wear this to feel German, and
It's
that's
good to
great.
remind ourselves where
Yeah.
where our ancestors came from
And the struggles they went
and because that's how we ended up here and how we became
Right.
who we are.
And if you look around in Charlottesville, as we know, it's very rich in different cultures and ethnicities.
Which is why I think part of what draws people here.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, Matthias,
Wow.
this has been I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this show. It's just to be able to just
That was a lot of fun.
relax and talk and just help people see the fact that for all we do we're just people. We're people that like to have a good time and appreciate where we come from and appreciate what we're surrounded by. And so it's been fantastic to have you on.
My
It's
pleasure.
special.
With the
We
heritage.
appreciate that after 2 years
So,
you delivered
After
on your
2
promise.
years,
Yeah.
well,
And
now we'll
which
just
is
have to
not
make
as
it
long
an
as I
annual
thought it would
tradition.
take.
It's an annual tradition now.
Oh, gee, Alice,
Let's make
that's
it
all
an
we have.
annual tradition.
We'll make
Yeah,
it an
next
annual
October, I come again. Different shirt then.
Different shirt, same leader.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
No,
No,
thanks.
always
Thanks
great to
for
be here.
coming.
Wonderful
Always a
having you.
pleasure. Always a pleasure.
And you can catch Matthias at Oktoberfest in Blue Mountain Brewery.
Blue Mountain
on
Brewery
Saturday.
this Saturday.
On Saturday.
This Saturday. What were the times again?
12 to 4.
12 to 4.
Yeah.
12 to 4. So be sure to check that
No, I
out.
memorized it, yeah.
And this is a great way, I think, to send people off for a couple weeks because we will not have a show next week.
That is correct.
We've got some well-deserved rest being taken by our production team.
The production.
So we will not have one next week, but we will be back the following week
Yes.
with some more Today y Mañana. But we really appreciate everyone who tuned in today. We had I was happy to see also some new faces. I
Some
would
new
say
questions.
some new questions,
Yeah.
some new comments, and just really appreciate everyone who tunes in. I can't forget the Elizabeth Erpy. The wonderful Elizabeth Erpy, the wife of Nicholas Erpy, who tuned in. So don't I want to leave her out. So just a really big thank you to everyone who joined us this morning. Appreciate all of you so much. Appreciate our guests. Be sure to check out A Light Flower Farm from Liz. Be sure to check out Matthias Yon Realty and get to meet Matthias. Hey, if you need to be in the real estate field and you want your house, your future home shown to you by a man wearing lederhosen, then you need to call Matthias. So that's all. That's all I can say
any
there.
other realtors who will
If
show
you
up-
don't know,
will show
I
up in
mean, I
lederhosen.
can't think of anyone else who would do that. So that's my pitch, my only pitch for
Your
today.
pitch for-
That's my only pitch for today. But really, appreciate just having the monthly meetup with Matthias and all of everyone here. And appreciate Judah behind the camera making us look good, Jerry for being our wonderful live audience, the I Love Seville Network, Emergent Financial Services, our amazing partners, Credit Serious Insurance, Matthias Yon Realty, Charlottesville Opera. I appreciate you for co-hosting with me today. And thank you all for watching this morning. Have a safe and wonderful week, and we will see you back in a few weeks on Today Mañana. But until that time, hasta mañana.